it's Bishop Schatzel with Skinny for Jesus. I hope you enjoyed my previous video explaining what raw vegan dieting is, and I'm going to be making you a raw vegan recipe. Now, this isn't your everyday recipe. I try to follow, right now I'm working on following the 80-10-10, and usually in a day my diet is more like 95-2-3. So this has a little bit more fat and a little bit more protein to bump my average back to 80-10-10. So now first, just so you know what this is called, this is raw vegan macaroni and cheese. Yeah, that's right, you heard me. Raw vegan mac and cheese. Okay, let's get started. This, if you have not seen one before, is a Joy Chen spiral slicer. It's very nifty for making noodles with your zucchini. So what you do is you take it, you plop it on the end of there, put it in the bottom of your spiralizer. You figure out how to close it, that usually helps. And you just turn and it makes pasta noodles. Now you do a couple turns and then you go back so you don't get noodles that are Lady and the Tramp long. You just get normal size noodles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, back. 1, 2, 3, 4, back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and back. So you get the idea. And when you are done, you get these delicious noodly looking things. Look at that. It's like pasta, but not. It's raw pasta. So I made a whole bunch right here. Add that in here. And make as much of this as you want because this is the healthy part of this dish. And what I like to do, because this is what my husband likes because he's very Italian, he likes to put some lemon juice on it to soften the noodles. So you just put some lemon juice over it and let it sit for a few minutes, and instead of being super al dente, they're just al dente. So you just put that in there and you mix. If you do not have one of these amazing inventions, something you can do is use a mandolin. I have a mandolin at home that has a julienne blade. So there's usually a small julienne or a thick julienne. And you just slice it like this over the mandolin. And it makes noodles about this long. They're not as nice as these noodles. And another option, if you really have nothing to do, is a peeler. And then you can peel your noodles. If you can get a vegetable spiral slicer, you should. And so that is how we make our noodles. Now the next is our sauce for our mac and cheese. We'll take our blender. This is not a Vitamixer like most people use. This is a Ninja. I find it very, very helpful. It has a million blades on it. And it's very, very good for smoothies, good for this recipe. So I like it. So first we're going to start with, this was at one time about 1.5 cups of soaked cashews. I usually like to use a mixture of soaked cashews and almonds, but that didn't work out this time. So I'm just doing the cashews. When you soak them overnight, they become very large. And they're very tasty. They help make a nice consistency. Now I didn't throw away the nut water that I soaked, the water I soaked the nuts in. I keep it here. So if I want to thin out the mixture a little bit, I have something to do it with, because there's stuff in there that came from the nuts and I'd like it to be as whole as possible. So that's basically it. Some people just throw it out and say it's garbage. More power to them. So now our next ingredient is 3/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. This is of the raw variety. And there. And now I use about This is about 1.5 teaspoons maybe of mustard. I might add a little bit more. I'm not familiar with this mustard. This isn't my mustard. So, and mustard has a lot of different flavor characteristics that differ with age. So I don't know how old this mustard is. If it's old mustard, it's going to be very weak. But if it's fresh mustard, it's going to bite hard. So it's better to be safe than sorry. And next is a cup of nutritional yeast. Some people say this is low-fat, raw vegan. Some people say it's just vegan. Some people say it's not vegan at all. I don't care. It tastes really good. And there are a lot of vegans who have it. And there are a lot of raw vegans who use it. So a cup in it goes. It tastes very nutty, a lot like Parmesan cheese. Now this is, so far, it's very typical how you would make a vegan macaroni and cheese, or a raw vegan macaroni and cheese. Now I'm going to add a little bit of my own special ingredients to spice it up a bit. Here is about half of a bell pepper. Also, keep in mind, I am making this for a party tonight. So this is going to serve a bunch of people as a side dish. If you were making this for yourself, I would at least half the recipe. If this is like a dinner for you. So this is about half a bell pepper. In there. Now this is my super secret ingredient, but you get to know what it is because you're special. This is caraway seed. It's very tasty. This is the same seed that you find in rye bread. So if you like the taste of rye bread, chances are you like the taste of the caraway seed itself. So this goes in here, and this kind of gives it like a smoky flavor, like a smoky Gruyere, and there you go. So that's all we're adding in. We might add a little bit of the nut water to thin it out. So I'll just put it in my Ninja and play with all the interlocks because it's a very complicated machine. And this may take a while. Okay, just in case you hadn't noticed, I'm putting a little bit of the nut water in. How you can tell is if your machine is making a vortex. If it's taking the food from the top and pushing it down to the bottom. If it's not doing that so well, you need to help it along a little bit and give it a little bit of water. So actually, in this case, it looks like I need a lot of water. So I'm just putting that in there, and okay. Now this should be just about perfect. And that tastes good. I'm gonna just give it a little taste test because, you know, I have to. I'm required under raw vegan law to taste it a lot and not give it to you. That is really good. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some, and again, this is a little bit thick. If you don't like it that thick, you don't have to. I take some of my noodles. And yes, I am using my fingers. Okay, maybe they are waiting in the tramp long. Put some noodles in there. And look at that, how pretty. Pretty green, pretty green. And I'm going to take one of these and scoop out some of my sauce. There's a little bit of a red tinge because of the bell pepper. You don't taste the bell pepper though, it's just really interesting. It just gives it that savory flavor. So you put out some sauce. And now you get to spice it up a little bit more. Like you can add some tomatoes. We have these delicious little cherry babies right here, cut them in half. Put them around. Anything that makes it a little bit, you know, woohoo, flavor, color. Put a little, take some sprouts. I love sprouts. Put them on top. And now you have some delicious, nutritious, guilt-free, raw vegan macaroni and cheese. And again, you can change it however you like it. If you like onions, put in onions. If you like garlic, put in garlic. I don't care. This is the way I like it. I like my sauce extra thick. I like everything extra colorful. So now it's time for a little bit of a taste test. See, Lady and the Tramp long. I'm sorry. I did it to you. Let's give it a little bit more. There we go. Now look at this. It's delicious. You can see it's covered in that cheese sauce. You can mix it all up together if you want. You can just kind of dunk it, whatever you want, and here we go. I am the biggest macaroni and cheese fan in the world, in case you hadn't known. And this is so good enough for me. So definitely give this recipe a try. If you like this video, then like the video on the bottom. Subscribe to this channel. And there'll be many more interesting things to come. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed yourself and have a lovely day. Bye.